so many incredible moments and a fantastic new EP that keeps it moving the right way. This is The Strokes on Beats One. Let's take it or leave it. Let's get Julian on.
Hello, Zane.
Hello.
Hey, you're connected to Julian.
In so many ways.
Zane.
What's happening? Are you in New York City?
Nah, kind of. I'm like driving from one area to another, I guess.
The new song sounds so great on this EP, you know, Drag Queen, Oblivious, and Thread of Joy. Were they the only three that you guys kind of worked on when you were making this EP, or is it part of a selection of other songs that are in varying states?
No, we worked together kind of without an agenda, and then 3 songs kind of appeared, so I just thought, hey, why don't I just put these out? And everyone said, that's a terrible idea.
You were in a situation where you can sort of make all those decisions. Not that you couldn't before, but there were probably other opinions floating around the room, but now you've been able to bring the Strokes to cult. I can imagine that it must actually create kind of more of a relaxing vibe that you can sort of make decisions just as a group now and not worry about, you know, other people and other offices.
Yeah, it's interesting, or perhaps boring, but it's the same kind of bass. Instead of a label kind of fighting you, though, there's still those kind of commercial concepts where it's like, well, if you do it this way, like, you know, it's kind of cheesier, but you'll probably sell more, and then if you do it this way, and like super art Miles Davis next level, but no one will hear it or care. So you're still debating with those things, but it's more an internal voice now instead of just some music business guy kind of pressuring you and fighting you on it. So it's different but similar. Relaxed, I would say, in a way, maybe there's almost more pressure on me personally, because before I would just worry about music, and once it was good, I cared about the rollout, but terrible, I could blame someone else.
Yeah, but, you know, you've got some good practice now with Cult because you put out some amazing records. You know, Cerebral Ballsy, one of my favorite bands coming out of New York, and even things like Ray Peeler. So, you know, the Cult Records thing is obviously something you're super passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta never talk like this, but the passion for music, it translates to other artists. I've always had friends or people who are fans come up to me and kind of ask for advice or collaboration, and that was always a weird issue in the past, because without the kind of being able to see it through completely, sometimes it would kind of go awry. I would give them advice, people wouldn't get it, kind of go off differently. So now it's kind of all or nothing. It's either, okay, I will help, but like help completely, or if you're not into that, then, you know, we don't need to waste our time. So yeah, I think once people sign, I'll take pride in trying to make sure the music is, you know, of a super high level and everything comes out at a super high level. At least let me try.
Well, the logo's been awesome for a start, which is a big hurdle for anybody with an imprint.
Thanks. I'm sitting next to Warren, our creative director, independent, amazing director and artist. We're finishing a Strokes video right now, so we were hanging out. But it was kind of an accident. It was like we called it the negative C. Oh, yeah. Cult logo. Yeah, I think it was just kind of a happy accident.
I appreciate the full disclosure, telling me now that Warren's in the car. That was a detail you neglected to mention at the very start of the interview, which is really, that's not protocol. So, I mean, that could have gone very south for me if I'd said, look, everything is going Cult's way except the design, which is awful.
He can't hear you, but I would have probably told him anyway.
So you were saying, what's the video you're doing? Did you say you're doing Thread of Joy?
Yeah.
Why that one?
Well, we were going to do Oblivious, and we had all this kind of super heavy political content, and then it kind of, through different indirect corridors, kind of got shut down. So we kind of decided to do Thread of Joy at the last second, and probably for the best.
We have Julian Casablancas right now, driving from A to B, and with new music, with a brand new EP out on Cult, which is called Future, Present, Past. You know, we loved playing Drag Queen and being part of the whole excitement that surrounded the release of music, and it felt like within a few hours it had gone from being a whisper to a real thing. And I wondered what that feels like being in a band these days, because, you know, when you first started releasing records and we would play them on the radio, it felt like there was a very physical presence to a release, and it was something that felt like you not only could hold it in your hand, but you could actually hold on to that experience. Whereas now, it's very different, the way that records kind of get released these days. And I wonder how that feels for you, you know, or the Strokes when you're putting out an EP, you know, the psychological feeling of releasing music and how different that feels.
Yeah, it's interesting, I suppose, again, or boring, that we came out right before the era of the internet, and now we're still going during the era of the internet. So, yeah, the contrast is pretty clear, I suppose, to us, or to me, or to you, or everyone, or no one. But, yeah, the internet, you know, it's changed everything. Cliche to say, but, you know, obvious, I suppose.
Do you still get a real feeling that is tantamount in a different way to how you felt before?
I think there's more of a feeling now because you see the reaction. You get feedback pretty quick, whether you like it or not. I don't really check to see what people are saying, but people just inevitably, like, man, everyone's really, like, hating that new song or loving. But, so I feel it quickly, and it's cool. I think the turnaround is, it makes more sense. I think the old school approach, which still happens and probably works for a lot of people, you know, the kind of 3-4 month lead-up time. Usually you kind of finish a record 4 months before, and then 2 weeks before, a month before, you pretend like you just finished it and you're still in the studio. And that whole game is kind of a little different now. It's kind of just almost a day is enough. It's almost like that's the attention span of today's music and all kind of consumers, I guess. It's just kind of, once you hear about something, you kind of want it and usually can have it right away. So almost a day turnaround seems like better.
It's a brand new Strokes EP called Future, Past, Present, and right now we have Julian Casablancas from the Strokes on a phone on Beats One somewhere in New York City playing catch up. In and amongst the time you spent together as a band, you know, you've delivered a really healthy amount of albums, and yet I think like releasing an EP right now seems kind of sort of the right thing to do. And I wonder whether now that you're on Cult and now that we're taking into account everything we just talked about, whether it's just a much better fit for you.
Well, again, there's two sides to it. I think it wasn't thought out that specifically in terms of what would be right for us or anything like that. It was just simpler. I think we hadn't done anything in a while. You almost want to kind of do something a little light, you know, just kind of 3 songs, no big deal, kind of get back maybe some of the momentum before potential albums and stuff. I think creatively and just on an art level, EPs are much more creative, just to do somewhere between 2 and 4 songs. It reminds me of when we started, because when we started, we worked in a bubble, and we had, you know, a long time to kind of groom what kind of music you like and want to play, and then you're kind of operating in a bubble, so by the time you have, you know, 11, 12 songs, you've had a lot of time, and then after that, you're in the public eye, and you got to put out records, and then generating 10 or 12 songs can be a little contrived or a little forced, but when we get together now, I feel like just working on 2 to 4 songs seems like you can actually create the same circumstances as when you started, and have time to rethink what you want to do. So I think on a business level, again, boring, but I think doing an album and a mega tour, that's how you make more money, I believe, but EPs don't, I think, traditionally sell as much or contribute to a tour, because a lot of maybe stores or radio stations traditionally kind of don't support EPs as much as albums for some reason. So yeah, I think on art level, I'm all about EPs, and maybe that's what we'll do, I don't know, but like I said, album is kind of a more traditional way to make a living.
You've headlined the Gov Ball, you know, you played Hyde Park. This is all outside of a traditional touring framework. You know, you've been able to play in front of tens of thousands of people, and that's a real blessing, and I think that that's allowing you to have make these creative decisions, because think about it, it's not like you're scaling down. I mean, you're still headlining festivals, even releasing an EP, even releasing, you know, 3 songs in a remix.
Yeah, you're putting me in a tough spot here. Okay, I'm gonna take me out of the equation. I think 98% of musicians that I know and talk to really don't like playing festivals. My main issue is always the choice thing, where they'll put people on at the same time, and you have to choose who you got to see, and then you're always kind of wondering, oh, I should have gone to see the other one. It's a business model. It's like they make a lot of money, and the main way artists make money now, I think, is probably, you know, festivals and commercials. I think it's cool for fans to go and see a lot of bands, and I'm not an evil on the world or anything. It's cool to do, but my favorite thing would be playing surprise shows in half-empty bars. That would be my dream, and that would be a devastatingly, financially ruinous approach. I still want to do that stuff anyway for fans and stuff, so we'll see how much we can mix it up. But yeah, I think festivals are fine. I think they could be cooler, and I think that when you do things like Coachella, where the main GA is like a VIP thing where people are kind of not really engaged, and then you have the kind of, what I would call real fans almost, you know, like a mile away behind a barricade, you know, kind of squished, and it's a terrible vibe, I find. So again, art versus commerce is, it's hard to find a sweet spot, but yeah, I don't know. Festivals, yay, I don't know what to say.
Always good to catch up and get some words around records. Obviously, most importantly, thrilled to have new music, and nice to talk with you, Julian. Appreciate it always.
All right, take care, Zane.